Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some things that we make when we have cookouts, summer cookouts, family gatherings, just different things like that. A lot of times my husband will grill and we usually have everybody bring something to pass, but I also like to have a variety of healthier, lower calorie, lower point type options as well. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kristi. On my channel, I share WW points and also calories, but you don't have to be on any type of weight loss program to get tips and ideas for my channel. So some of these recipes are ones that I just recently made and filmed. When we had our Memorial Day cookout, I decided to film some of them. And then some of them are older recipes that I've had out on my website that I just kind of pulled different clips so that I could kind of repurpose it and add it all into this. So just keep that in mind. I'll edit the best I can in case it talks about the old points program. But for the most part, this is just basically to share the actual recipes with you. And these recipes are very versatile. You can add different ingredients, take away different ingredients, and make them to your liking. So now let's jump right into this video. This recipe is one of my favorites to do for any type of cookout because there are times where I just really crave a burger. I just want a burger, and this makes the choice a little bit healthier, a little bit lighter. So the recipe that I'm actually using for this one is a skinny taste recipe. These are air fryer bacon burger bites. The only difference is instead of the center cut bacon, she uses just regular center cut bacon. When I went to the store, I refused to pay $8 for a package of center cut bacon. So for me, I'm going to be using some Canadian bacon that I've already minced up here. So just mince it up real good. If you're using regular bacon, then it's just raw bacon. You just cut it up into, mince it up. So this recipe makes 30, and for each serving it's 2 burger bites. I'm going to be cutting the recipe in half. So instead of 2 pounds of beef, I'm going to use 1 pound and then 2 ounces of bacon and so on. So this does call for 90% beef. The beef I'm using is a little bit leaner. It's the 93% lean, but use whatever you want. I'm going to be linking you to the skinny taste recipe so you can find out the points and calories, make any adjustments based on that. And then combined to that, I'm going to make my Big Mac sauce. So I have a recipe for Big Mac salad, and in that salad recipe I also do a Big Mac sauce. So I'm going to be making some sauce just to dip these in. So basically this is what they look like. They're just little burger bites, and you can put them on a skewer or toothpick, whatever you want, and put some lettuce, tomato, however you want to do it. Sometimes I just put it all together on a plate, and then you just dip it in whatever you want. Like I said, I'm going to use the Big Mac sauce. I'm going to make enough Big Mac sauce though for these, as well as enough for people who are having regular burgers in case they want to use that on their bun. The first thing I'm going to do is put my beef into a bowl. So I'm just adding the beef and then also the Canadian bacon. I'm going to add just a pinch of, I'm going to use Himalayan sea salt. Her recipe says to use kosher salt. I'm going to use just a little bit of Lowry salt too. Her recipe does not call for this. So just add or take things out that you don't want. And then I'm going to add some pepper. And about 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. And then finally about a tablespoon of yellow mustard. Now just take your hands and mix that all together. If you are not one to use your hands, feel free to use gloves or whatever you want to use. Okay, now what I do, this is just how I make my meatballs, or like in this case it's a little burger bites, but I'm going to take some aluminum foil and just spray it with some olive oil or cooking spray, whatever you want to use. And I just find this is so much easier doing it this way. So when I make meatballs, like I said, I do it this way as well. So I'm just going to press this down and spread it out into kind of like a rectangle. I'm going to want 15 of these. Like I said, her recipe makes 30, but I'm cutting it in half. So I'm going to make 15. So I'm just going to put it into a rectangle like this. I want to make sure the thickness is the same all around. All right, I usually use a regular roller pizza cutter for this, but I can't find it, so I'm going to use my big pizza cutter. So now I'm just going to cut it this way in thirds. Again, eyeball it. And then I'm going to do 5. So as you can see, if you don't have it exact, some of them are going to be a little bit smaller, but that's fine. They're going to be pretty much around the same size. And then just roll them that way. In the meantime, I've got my air fryer preheating to 400 degrees. All right, so now I'm just giving my air fryer a spray with some cooking spray. So if you're making the batch of 30, then you'll have to do it in batches. They won't all fit in there. So now we're going to cook this on 400 degrees for about 8 to 10 minutes. That's going to be for medium, and I'm going to be flipping them halfway. All right, so it's been about 4 minutes. So now I'm just going to flip these over. Now they're going back in for the other 4 to 6 minutes. All right, so now while those finish cooking, I'm going to throw together the Big Mac sauce. So here I'm just chopping up some shallot. If you don't have shallot, you can definitely use an onion instead. I used probably 3 small shallots. And then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of light mayonnaise. You can use whatever brand you want. And also 1/2 cup of light Miracle Whip. The recipe calls for a teaspoon of sugar. I'm going to use some Lakanto monk fruit sweetener, but feel free to use regular sugar if you prefer. I'm also going to put in a teaspoon of white vinegar and then 3 tablespoons of fat-free French dressing. And then I'm going to add just a pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then one thing that's optional with this is dill relish. So I do put in probably about a tablespoon of relish in mine, but you definitely don't have to do that. You can mix it up and then try it. Now, something else you could do if you don't have time to make Big Mac sauce, you can also use like a Thousand Island dressing too. That's a shortcut that I've seen some people take as well. So now my burger bites are done, and I actually cooked them a little bit too long. They don't come out medium. You'll see, I'll show you. They ended up being definitely well done. So you just have to kind of keep an eye on them. So I'm just putting them in this little tray that I have. I'm going to put them on a paper towel and just dry any grease off. If you want to add a little bit of cheese, you can. Right there, I have just 1/4 of a piece of sliced cheese. And then just add any toppings that you would normally add to a burger. So I used lettuce, tomato, red onion, and then I did add a few pickles on there. So you can eat it. They're kind of hard to eat on the skewers, so you can honestly just take them right off of there and eat it kind of like a burger bowl. And the sauce, again, do however you want. You can either dip it or pour it over there like I did in the beginning. So you can see here, these did cook well done instead of medium, but they were still delicious. I love these. So like I said, you can just kind of dip them in that sauce if you want, or spread it on it, however you want to do it. Here's where I just take everything right off the skewer, and you can kind of mix it all together, kind of like a little burger bowl, I guess you could call it. And no matter how you do it, these are really good. We actually had a few leftovers of these, and if you saw my most recent meal prep, I ended up using some of those for my salad and my meal prep. So I'll have both the recipes for the Big Mac sauce as well as the burger bites down in the description box below. So these ones here are actually a clip that I pulled from previous years. I think maybe last year I had made these and showed them on my channel. These ones, I melted cheese on them, and then I just used the little grape tomatoes instead of sliced tomatoes. So just want to show you there's different options that you can do with those. Next up is one of my very favorites, black bean salsa. My friend at work made this all the time and brought it to work, and I just had to have the recipe, made a few tweaks. So Dana, thank you. So this recipe is so easy. You take a can of black beans and then also a can of the shoe peg corn. Make sure it's the shoe peg corn. I've used regular corn before, but to me, the shoe peg corn is just so much better. So all you're going to do is take those cans and rinse and drain them. Just rinse them off real good, drain them out real good, and then put those right into a bowl. Next, I have 3 Roma tomatoes, but I actually only end up using 2 of them. So as with a lot of the things I make, this is a very versatile recipe. So if there are things that you don't like, you can definitely take them out, or you can add different things. For example, cilantro is one thing I love to have in this. My husband doesn't like it. And honestly, you'll see I do end up adding cilantro, and I didn't realize he was going to want any of it, but he actually liked it this time. Next, I'm adding avocado. I just add 1 whole avocado to it. So if you want, you can wait until the end and add that afterwards. I honestly just like mixing it all in there. And then I'm going to add some red onion. I only ended up adding about half of the red onion, but again, however much you want, completely up to you. Next up is the controversial cilantro. So my husband and I both go back and forth on this. I think it tastes amazing. My husband says it tastes like soap. However, he did end up liking it in this. So I'm going to use about 1/4 cup of it, but you use however much you want. And if you're one that's like my husband that thinks it tastes like soap, you can completely leave this out. You definitely don't need to have this in it. Next up, I'm going to add some lime juice. So I didn't quite have enough to make the 1/4 cup of the lime juice with just this 1 lime. So I'm going to end up just using some of the store-bought lime juice that I had in my fridge. Now I'm just mixing those ingredients together. I don't have to mix it all the way. I'm going to completely mix it once I add these final ingredients. Added some black pepper there, and now I'm just going to add a pinch of Himalayan pink salt. Feel free to use whatever salt you want. And then I'm going to add some red wine vinegar. I usually use between 1 and 2 tablespoons of this. For today, I used 1 tablespoon. And then also some extra virgin olive oil. I'm using 2 tablespoons of that. Olive oil is actually one of those things. Back in my early WW days, there was no way I would spend a point on olive oil. And now I realized I was so wrong. Olive oil is so healthy, such healthy fats. So this is what it looks like. You can either eat it plain like this, or you can add, like, just take some tortilla chips, or you could even put it in tacos or use it in a wrap. But the flavor of this by itself is so good. It just tastes so fresh. So that's the black bean salsa. Okay, next up is deviled eggs. So I actually have 12 eggs here, but for this recipe, I'm just going to be using 6. So the other eggs I have on here, I'm just going to use for just hard-boiled eggs through the week. So I'm going to use 6 eggs for the deviled eggs, which is going to make 12 halves. So basically 12 deviled eggs. So I'm going to cook my eggs in the Instant Pot. Best way to make these, love these this way, they are so easy to peel. So in the bottom of my Instant Pot, I have 1 cup of water, and I'm going to set my eggs down in there. I'm actually going to take these trays apart because it's easier to do that way. These are little stackable trays. I got these from Amazon. I'll link them down in the description box below. And then this one just kind of sets on there. Like so. So that's it. 1 cup of water down in the bottom. And then close the lid, make sure it's on sealing. Mine automatically stays on sealing. I'm gonna add my little steam diverter here. This just prevents the steam from going straight up into my cabinets. It just diverts it out the side. So now I'm gonna set this on pressure cook for 7 minutes. And that's gonna be on high. So for the time on this, you can do it anywhere between 3 and 7 minutes, depending how much you like the eggs cooked. I do like mine pretty hard boiled. So you just kind of have to play around with it and test it out. 3 would be for like your soft boil, up to 7, like I said, hard boiled. I'll show you how these come out. So in the meantime, while that's cooking, I'm gonna get a bowl with some ice. When these are done, I'm gonna quick release them, and then they're gonna immediately go into an ice bath. Okay, while the eggs are cooking, now I'm gonna get the mixture together. I'm gonna be using Kraft light mayonnaise. You can use whatever kind of light mayonnaise you want, or use full fat if you prefer. So I'm doing 1/3 of a cup. To that, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of mustard, just regular yellow mustard. Next, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of white vinegar and some salt and pepper. And then just mix that all together. All right, we're gonna set that aside, and then when the eggs are done, we'll add the egg yolk to that. Okay, so this just went off. Now I'm gonna do a quick release. Oh, looks like one of them cracked open. So now I'm just gonna immediately get these into the ice bath. So now just let those sit until they're no longer warm. So here's the best part of these eggs. They do peel fairly easily. So I usually just roll them on a cutting board and then just kind of peel right along, and then the peel will just fall right off. So now I'm going to cut the egg in half, and I want to show you what the inside looks like with how long that I cooked them. So like I said, I like mine pretty much completely hard boiled, which is what these are. So then I'm just going to put the yolks in with the mayonnaise mixture. I'm just going to go through the rest of the eggs, cut them in half, and then mix that all together. So now one thing I used to hate about making deviled eggs was spooning out the mixture into the eggs. So I do it a little different now. I put a bag, I have these little bag holders, I'll link them down below. I put just a little sandwich bag on there, put all the filling in there, and then I cut a little piece off of the corner, and then I just kind of use that like a pastry bag, like you would to make some type of pastries or cupcakes or something to frost them. And just go through all the eggs and quickly fill them. And then I just kind of squeeze everything that I can out of the bag the best that I can. There's always going to be some left over in there, but not that much. And then I usually just take a spatula and kind of even them out. And then you can top them with whatever you like. I like to top mine with some paprika, and I also like to put green olives on mine as well. So I'm actually, for the end picture, I'm going to take it off of this red tray. The lighting just wasn't good with that color of the tray, so I put them on a white plate just so that I could get a better picture at the end. So that's how I do our deviled eggs. Okay, this recipe is so easy. It's a watermelon cucumber salad. I'm going to use some watermelon and also some cucumber. I'm gonna peel the cucumber. You don't have to peel them. If you prefer to leave the skins on, you can. I'm also gonna use some mint and some feta cheese, and then also some olive oil, salt, and pepper. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get my watermelon cut up. Next, I'm going to peel and slice the cucumber. These cucumber are mini cucumbers, so they really don't have seeds in them, but if you have cucumbers with seeds, I would say to take the seeds out just so that it doesn't create so much water. All right, next we want about 2 tablespoons of mint. And with mint, I just like to kind of smack it in my hands. It just brings out some of that flavor. All right, I think that's all I'm gonna use. So you can use between 1 and 2 tablespoons. Now in a bowl, we want to take the olive oil, and I'm going to do, I think for this amount, I think I'm just going to do about 2 tablespoons. Next, I'm going to take a lime, And I'm gonna squeeze about a tablespoon of lime juice in there. Next, some salt and pepper. And then give that a good whisk. And then just drizzle that right over the top. Mix that in. And then next, just crumble some feta cheese over the top. So I'm gonna put maybe about 2 ounces in there. And that is the super easy watermelon cucumber salad. A summer cookout would not be a cookout without corn on the cob. I'm going to share with you how I make mine in the Instant Pot. It is so quick and so easy. I have the Instant Pot Duo Crisp and air fryer. So on this one, this is an 8-quart. So down in the bottom of my Instant Pot, I have about 1.5 cups of water. I'm going to add some kosher salt. That just kind of helps the steam. And now I'm going to put a trivet in there. So now I'm going to take my corn, and as you can see, this corn looks wonderful. We live in Florida, so we are very fortunate to get some really good corn on the cob for most of the year. So this is what this looks like. I love this kind. So all we're going to do is just line up the corn down in the bottom. It usually fits about 3 across, and then just put, you can fit like 6 in here. So, but I'm just going to do 5. So I usually do opposite directions. So the ones on top I do opposite. Now I'm just going to take my lid and cover it. And then make sure to put it in the sealing position. So I don't have to do that with this one. It automatically does it. We are literally going to put this on pressure cook on high for 2 minutes. So it's going to come up to pressure. It's going to take about 12 to 15 minutes to come up to pressure. It's going to cook for 2 minutes. And then as soon as the 2 minutes is done, I'm going to do a quick release on it. All right, once the 2 minutes is up, then just give that a quick release. After all the pressure's out, then take the lid off, and it's done. I'm using this Land O'Lakes light butter. So I usually put the butter on the top there, and then just kind of roll it around in the dish. And then add some Himalayan pink salt. And that is so good. So that's how easy it is to make corn on the cob in the Instant Pot. All right, this last one I'm going to share with you is just a very simple pasta salad that I pretty much have at almost every cookout that we do. So these are all the ingredients I have in here. I just shred up some carrots. I have some green olives, some black olives. I also use some pesto. You can just use canned pesto if you want, or jarred pesto, or just do some olive oil and basil, do it yourself. I also like to add in some sharp cheddar cheese in there. I also have some tomato in there. I also have cucumber in there, so you can add whatever vegetables you want. And then sometimes I'll also cut up some turkey pepperoni and add that as well. So once those noodles are done cooking, just dump them right into the bowl, and then just add the pesto sauce and then mix it all together. It's so easy to throw this together. Like you saw, while the noodles were cooking, I was putting all the other ingredients together. So then just mix that all up, and then that's it. That's all that there is to it. I sometimes will add some green onion to it. Usually I wait and add that to my bowl after. So here I'm just adding a little bit of Lowry seasoning salt, add whatever kind of spices. They do have something called a salad supreme. I've used that in there before. It's in the spice aisle, but I didn't have any for this time. But that's it. That's how quick and easy it is to make a pasta salad. So I hope that you enjoyed those recipes, and I hope that you will try to make some of those for the upcoming 4th of July holiday. I'd love it if you hit that thumbs up button, and if you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.
the journey.